Tommyinnit has recently uploaded a new video on his channel, Tommyinnit. In this video, he's on a legendary quest to find the love of his life in Nottingham, which, in my opinion, is not the best place you want to find your true love, but hey, you do you. Now, Tommy's quest brings him all abouts, from park to not park, and then a park-ish place. Truly a beautiful cinematic masterpiece, but something is different about this vlog, something that no one on YouTube has even bothered to talk about. While everyone else has been focusing on Wilbur's possible ARG, there is a new ARG being created under our very noses. Tommyinnit has already begun his ARG, a story so intricate and complex, only Rick and Morty viewers like myself can understand. So, where do we begin? What is the ARG about? Well, for that, we have to go to the very beginning. At the beginning of the vlog, trying to steal someone's wife, Tommyinnit is seen up a tree. He jumps down from the tree branches, and now almost instantly we can look at his wardrobe and make a connection to Jack the Ripper, the brown overcoat with the top hat. Now, bear with me, this seems like nothing but a coincidence, but then a few seconds later, he leaps up a set of steps. Again, seems like something normal Tommyinnit would do, right? Well, Jack the Ripper was famous for leaps and bounds far greater than a normal man. At 11 seconds in, Tommyinnit states, "I know what you've done," to a dog which was passing by. Now, keep this in mind for later. Then, at 35 seconds in, he seems obsessed with women. Now, this is usual for Tommy's persona, to love women, and is usually woman-obsessed, and yet every time he tries to, as he says, score with a woman, he fails miserably, something that has been set up in some of his earlier vlogs. At 0:55, Tommyinnit says, "I'm complicated, you know," suggesting that there is a deeper meaning to Tommy as a person, suggesting that yes, this is an ARG. And yes, we should be paying more attention, although on the surface he seems like a meth addict on crack. I think this line is a subtle hint into the fragile and complex nature of Tommyinnits. Notice how no one calls him Tom? Keep noticing that. Throughout the video, at like 1:29, Tommy continually references drugs, specifically Class A drugs like crack cocaine. Keep this in mind for later. Then, at 1:38, Tommyinnit begins chasing a figure which sprints from him. This seems like an average jogger, however we don't see what happens when Tommy catches up. It cuts to a completely different clip, so although this is played off as humor, it shows Tommy in his most natural state, some sort of feral state, filled with anger and rage, but somehow a feeling of sorrow is cast over this entire clip, as we can see the constant fight Tommy has to endure to stay on his feet. This callous, this pain, this fighting will make more sense as the video goes on, as we see Tommy's true mental state and the birth of an ARG. He is chasing after an innocent man, who we never see again after this clip. But what happened? Why? Why was this clip here? What did it add to the plot of such a vlog? It never added anything. To what we consider the main plot of the vlog, because this is the subtext, the context most average people don't notice. Now, don't blame yourself if you were too unperceptive to notice this. It's okay, I'll show you what the vlog truly means for Tom Simon's future. At 1:52, Timothy says, "Girls, girls, me, yes, and they, run and cry and shit. Now, women don't usually run and cry away from people wearing top hats, this is biology. However, if we take what we said earlier as fact, the reason they run is because he is Jack the Ripper, a man famous for murdering women. Now, through this entire clip, he is desperate, clinging onto the last of his sanity, the constant stuttering, the hyperactive movement, something terrible is happening, but we just pass it off as funny comedy. But you're all fools. He's trying to tell a story through time, and you all laugh at him. Now, keep this in mind, that girls often try to escape his grasp, as we will be linking this up to prove that this epic story passes over more than just one video. At 1 minute 57 seconds, this hero, the man of light, a man wearing a red beanie, which represents anger and truth, states a question to Tommy out it. "You mean you're stalking them?" he says. Tom then responds with, "No, no, 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 no." Now, with the funny Mario music behind them, you may think this is a joke. But he said no exactly 5 times. Do you know what else has 5? The Satanic Star, which must have been clearly used for this story to even happen. Again, pay attention to quote-unquote Tommy's reaction to the question. It is not of shock, it is not of terror, it is of denial, the first stage of grief. At 2:16, Tommy inside of it gestures to the beanie and says, "I enjoy it." Enjoy what, Mr. Innit? Murder? Because I think this next quote will prove that there is something darker afoot. "I remember when I washed it once, and it ran a little bit, and so I'm a bit gutted." Washed? Or watched? Ran? Gutted? This sounds like someone stalking someone, as was previously mentioned in the same scene. Again, subliminal messaging that murder, stalking, and an unhealthy obsession with women is present in the broken, fractured, and torn mind of Tommyinnit. Now, Tommyinnit's response to this is what? Almost like he had zoned out, like he was unaware of his surroundings, in a trance. Like the wording of such a sentence caused something in his brain to flicker, almost like a switch, which we will talk about later on. At 2:30, the man with the beanie, the man that speaks the truth, our messiah in this strange, complex story, says, "I do have 2 children though." And then he says, "I don't know." Almost like he's unsure of his own words. Almost like an entity, a being spoke and acted through him. I believe that this entity is Jack the Ripper, speaking to us, the viewer, and Tom, almost as if he was telling us that Jack had 2 kids. Now, remember this. Remember all of this. This will be a pivotal plot point in the upcoming lore dump that this vlog is. Also, right after this, at 2:35, Tom can't stop shaking the man's hand, almost like he's in some sort of state. He can't control his body anymore. Now, you might think that this is some sort of joke, but it isn't. It's a clever way, a very clever way, to tell that something has changed and activated the seeming blank state of Tommy, like he has no control over his body. At 3 minutes in, Tommy is asking a cyclist about how to get girls, and then he says, "I'm old enough to be your grandpa," which Tommy brushes away with ease, maybe because Tommy is actually a lot older than we think. Well, Tommy isn't, but possibly an entity, and it's controlling Tommy. That entity could be older, and then he refers to drugs once more as he sprints away. At 3:20, Tommy is once again speaking to a dog. As dogs are known throughout history as being the guides and bridges between the afterlife and living world, Tommy talking to dogs throughout this video might not be a coincidence. As he says to the dog, "Don't look at me like that," another semi-aggressive statement towards a dog. Now, if we believe the fact that there may be an entity inside of Tommy controlling him, maybe the only way the entity can speak properly is through the dog, but that doesn't make any sense. What makes more sense is more so the dogs are the only thing that bridges Tommy and the spirit specifically. The spirit saying to Tommy, "I know what you did," could be referring to the Halloween stream, which many have assumed is linked to the Wilbur ARG, but instead you got it all wrong. This is the Tommy ARG. You see, I think that he went out into those woods looking for something, and that something was a grave, a casket, one that belonged to Tommy's very great-grandfather, Jack the Ripper. That's right. The similarities aren't a coincidence, but because of Tommy on that stream finding out that he was related to Jack the Ripper and then finding the grave, he was possessed by the spirit of Jack, who is now looking for a way back into our world. This explains the erratic behavior, the constant obsession with women, and if he gets the ghost of Jack, can explain how Tom switches at the mention of stalking or murder. Jack and Tom's mind begin to fight against each other, putting him in a trance. This also links to the roast of Tom Simons, where Jack Manifold said he would tell the world. About what? Well, about Tom's dealings with the dead. At 4:05, Tommy's journey to find a diamond for a girl begins. He looks into the camera, and instantly we can tell his repressed rage and anger, almost like 2 conflicting emotions, 2 conflicting minds, Jack and Tom fighting for control. Tom wishes to make a video, while Jack is constantly fighting against it, to do what he always did, to go back to the old days of leaping and murdering without a care in the world. At 4:09, he meets a fan, someone who recognizes him, but he pays them no mind. Jack doesn't much care for fans, but he does enjoy stealing. This man is supposed to represent the people he cares about his fans, about us. And then, just how Jack wishes to steal Tom's body in his mind, Tom runs away with the scooter. But, just like Jack's plan with Tom, it will crash and burn. At 4:31, Tom is seen interviewing a fan, when at the mention of love and diarrhea, he goes cold, looking off into the distance at a figure or object unseen, almost as if he's entered a trance once more. Jack the Ripper and Tom fighting for control in his brain, forcing an ultimatum which results in freezing. At 4:35, Tom seems to shout and assault a stranger on the streets. However, moments later he seems to say, "Maybe don't shout at strangers," almost like he's talking to someone else, almost like he's talking to someone who just shouted. Maybe him, or is this Jack speaking through Tom and Tom reacting to such an action? At 5:13, when a man in the red coat says, "Don't lie." Remember, red means truth. Tom, almost like Jack, responds to this by saying, "Well, I can't not do that." Again, most would pass this off as a joke, but in reality, Tom and or Jack is stating that if they told the truth to the world, it would not end up going too well. At 5:27, Tom is holding the microphone up to the man's face, almost how a killer would hold a knife up to a victim's throat. This is obviously symbolism for Jack attempting to break through into Tommy's body, pushing him to do heinous acts, just like his very great-grandfather. Tommy is the direct descendant of him after all. Tom also refers to the man as Kyle, a name that I think we should keep in mind. This might come back into full swing soon enough. At 5:42, Tom begins to sneak around a tattoo parlor. This could be Jack's influence, as Jack the Ripper was a sneaky man and could use the shadows to his advantage. This could be that, but coming back in the form of Tommy. At 6:07, Tom meets a man and asks him how to find love. The man directs him to a prosy, which is British slang for a prostitute. Now, you Jack the Ripper fans may know Jack's killings were directed at prostitutes. The man then gestures to go to NG7. NG7. If we put this into base 62, we come out with the numbers 1909 and 67, which lines up perfectly with Jack the Ripper's killings. I believe that this is a hint. Jack the Ripper died in 1909 at the age of 67. Go on the roads and you'll find a prosy. Could that be this man, wearing all black, could know that Tom's connection is to Jack the Ripper? The man also backs away the entire time, almost like he's intimidated, but not gonna lie, Tom isn't the scariest man. Someone who is scary? Jack the Ripper. At 10:57, Tommy, after hours of searching for love, reaches a rooftop and stares out over the entire city. He comes to the conclusion that he himself is his own girlfriend. However, I think that the rooftop represents more. Jack's love of the city, the love of standing up high and looking over his work and what he had done. This could also be a hint to how and where Jack died. Maybe he jumped from that very spot Tommy was standing. At 11:37, love changes you. These words, I believe, are not spoken by Tommy, but by Jack, the man who was once a murderer, who was changed by maybe love. I think this story is incredibly subtle and not easy to decipher, but when you put these pictures together, I think we have it the wrong way. Jack isn't here to take over Tom's body and kill more. He's here to stop Tom from becoming Jack, to find Tom love so that he can change before it's too late, trying to keep Tom safe and sane, away from the darkness. Because remember what the man said? 2 children, a sunset in the distance on one, as he says love changes. Jack can only save 1 child, but there is another. Jack had 2 kids, 2 descendants. This story is far from over. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know that I haven't uploaded properly in like a month. I haven't even been working on something like a massive. I mean, I have been working on episode 5 of SCP Uncontained, which if you're new here, first of all, please subscribe. I want to hit 30k by the end of next year, and I would really appreciate any support whatsoever. So please hit that like button and subscribe if you want. It means the world, and I appreciate it massively. But go watch my TV show when episode 5 releases. I'm probably going to focus a bit more on YouTube, and I'm going to upload more videos, hopefully, just like this one. And also, if you're a returning viewer, this video may have murdered, this video may have killed you. I don't know. Anyways, thank you guys for sticking around to the end. Special shout out for you watching this whole thing. I'll see you anomalies in the next video. If I don't see you there, see you next life. And if I don't see you there, I'll see you on the flip side. And if I don't see you there, I will see you in the void. Join my Discord. Bye.